Sitting here with head football coach, head athletic director Craig Stevens, coming into his 23rd year, 4th year as AD. How's it going today, Coach Stevens?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here. Glad to, y'all doing this kind of stuff for our program. We appreciate everything y'all do.
With everything going on lately, the hurricane just struck. We're dealing with COVID. Everything's at uncertain times right now. What's the latest that you're hearing for it to get kicked off right here before we get going?
Yeah, well, as sure everybody knows, Friday morning, we got to go ahead to, start the season on October 8th, which is a Thursday. They named the start dates 8th, 9th, and 10th because there's going to be some games played on each one of them days, which we are excited about now. We have to wait and see what kind of guidelines our parish is going to give us, which I think that's going to be all right. So we looking forward to it. It's the kids are going to be very excited. Hadn't seen them yet, but I'm sure they've heard about it. So we're excited about that.
Right. So I know they came out with a couple rules so far. So what's the schedule update? I know they was talking about 6, 7, or 8 games. Playoff update. Didn't they trim it down to a certain amount? And I also have a bus ride question for you once you answer those two.
The schedule. This is just something out there. Some of the coaches are hearing is we're gonna play a scrimmage on it's a couple of weeks before we start the season, and then a jamboree the following weekend, and then start the season and play 8 games.
Okay.
Now, like I said, that's just some coaches that are hearing things. We'll find out Wednesday for sure exactly what kind of schedule we're gonna have. From the LHSA, they're gonna have an executive committee meeting Wednesday, and they'll give us the guidelines and the schedule and all of that sometime Wednesday.
What about the playoffs? It's
Yeah,
not
the
gonna
playoffs.
be 32
Well,
this year, huh?
what we hear in the playoffs are actually only going to be 16 teams in each classification, which for the public schools it's going to be tough to get in. It's going to be 16 teams that don't make the playoff that usually do, and that's because there's just not enough time in the season. Trying to play in a dome, they're trying to get all of the games in the dome, and the select and non-select are going to all play in the same venue this year.
Okay, that's good.
So that's something that's new with the COVID, and all of that.
And also, I was talking to the Bruley head football coach, Coach Schooler, a couple weeks ago, and he brought up a good point. He said that they have anywhere to over 100 players on their team, and not everyone has that, but some teams do. I know Church Point down the road dresses a lot, but here's a question that he brought up. What is the school boards, the parishes going to do for bus-wise? Because you can't have 100-plus players going on 4 buses with COVID because of the guidelines were 6 feet apart. So how's all that going to work out? I know we don't have numbers like 100, but what do you think about how they're going to attack something like that?
Just to throw some numbers out there at you for us, with the coaches and, our managers and whoever's, in our group, we're probably looking at about 60 people. And if we're following the guidelines that are in place right now, we would probably need 4 buses to carry our crew wherever we're going, because they're going to only allow 1 per seat and skip every other seat is the way it is right now. So Can you imagine? You're probably going to put 15, max 20 maybe on a bus, right now. But if we get to phase 3, that'll change a little bit, which is what we're hoping for. Come next week, the governor allows in phase 3, and then we still won't be able to have a full bus full of kids, but it'll be easier to manage than what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
That is a good question, and probably a lot of people hadn't thought about it yet. What are you going to do about that? Yeah.
Now, since you became the athletic director, there's been a lot of changes to the overall facility. The baseball field got a new fence, stuff like that. Weight room, you just improved. Softball field is going through improvements. What's your next step that you're looking to improve?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, and I want to thank some people that this wouldn't even be possible for. The weight room was a little over $30,000 project that the Port Barre Alumni Association is the ones responsible for all our improvements. I'm getting credit for it, but it's not really me.
Yeah.
We are approaching them and asking them, and this needs to be done, that needs to be done, but it's all because of them. The weight room was a great addition to what we've done. Our kids have been so excited. It was, a long time coming. The baseball field, we've been talking about putting a fence up for a long time because the fence we had was falling down. So, you know, the wall looks great out there. The next project is the softball field. You know, we want to do a backstop like we have at the baseball field. We want to put a metal wall like we have at the baseball field also. So that's the next big project that I'm looking at. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen this year because it don't look like we're going to get to have our alumni softball tournament, which is the biggest fundraiser we have. You know, but like I said, I want to thank them again, the Alumni Association, for everything they do for us, you know, with our athletic teams.
Now, as far as this year, new coaches coming aboard, coaches we lost, new coaches coming on, what's the coaching staff going to look like this year?
We really didn't lose any faculty coaches. In fact, we didn't lose any varsity faculty coaches. I lost a CECP coach that helped coach football. His name was Jonathan Hart. He was a football, baseball guy. We actually picked up this young man on the side of me here to help with baseball, which we're very excited about. The softball, program has gone through a complete change with the coaching staff. We've hired Jacques Swallow, which he was coach at Sacred Heart of Ville Platte for the last 3 years as the head coach. And Carl Crow is going to be his assistant. And we just got a word, which I'm so excited about, is Michelle Smith now. She was Michelle Bergeau when she came to school here. And she was, one of the better players that's come through our softball program in a long time. She's going to help out and be the pitching coach with the softball team.
It's a heck of a staff.
Yeah, we are. I think we have a good softball staff. They've been working their butt off all summer on the field, and very, very impressed with what I see so far. And they have a good young team coming back next year. So expectations are very high for softball.
So let's just stay in the softball talk here. At the beginning of your coaching years, you were a part of a 3-year run that was incredible over here. Can you talk about what those 3 years were like, being a part of that softball program where state titles run that y'all was going after every year?
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to Coach Blanchard. Whenever I started working with the softball team, she ran a great program. It was fun to be with. Learned a lot from her. When it comes to the discipline part of discipline side of things in athletics, she ran a tight ship. That's what I would call it, and she had a great program. I mean, we were competitive year in, year out, and the runs that you're talking about, the year that we won the state championship, we really struggled kind of, about in the midway of that year, and we just got hot at the right time, and be honest with you, when we got in the playoffs, we beat up everybody pretty easy, and they had some talented kids on that team, though. We had, I want to say, 4 girls that ended up playing college softball for that team, and even the ones that didn't play college softball were great athletes. And look, we lost a couple of tough ones. It could have been it could have been incredible what we could have done. I think we had the better team. The two years we lost it, I thought we had the better softball team. We had some bad breaks. We lost a 10-inning game, I want to remember, against Sacred Heart on a squeeze bunt.
Yeah. You still got girls that speak about that game today.
Yeah, you're going to remember the one you lost like that more than you're going to remember that one that you won, to be honest with you. But it was an incredible run, say like you. And even before I started, I mean, the softball program was already established. You had Coach Vidrine and Coach Blanchard were running a great program, and I was just lucky to be involved in it in the few years I was, and then, was only for 3 years, and then I switched over to baseball after that. So very, very lucky to be part of it, and I have a lot of, admiration for them guys, what kind of program that they ran.
You just spoke on how you switched to baseball a couple years later. So baseball season, I was coming around the 8th grade, so I wasn't here yet, but y'all had a heck of a run one season where a quarterfinal run, and y'all came into as a 30 seed and
exactly.
Pulled off an incredible run like that. Can you speak on that playoff run?
The 30 seed was, man, it was so deceiving because I know what kind of team we had, and we had won 20 games, I want to say, going into the playoffs that year, and that was the first year of the power rankings, I want to say, for baseball. And teams really didn't know, you know, the system yet, how you should schedule,
Yeah.
if you schedule up, upper class teams is going to help you out. A lot of people didn't know that, and their schedules were already made before we found out about the power ranking system. Anyway, we had to win. I say we didn't have to win. We played a playoff game against Opelousas Catholic that year to see who's going to come out second place in our district. And Caleb Robery, which was the ace of our pitching staff, hadn't thrown in about a month because he had a foot injury. And a couple of days before we played that playoff game, he comes up to me at practice. He was still coming to practice. He said, "Coach, I think I feel good enough to throw." I said, "Well, trying to explain to him from a coach to a player's aspect that I don't know if you're ready to pitch yet." Anyway, we let him pitch, and he throws a 2-hitter against Opelousas Catholic. We win the game 3-1.
Wow.
So we make the playoffs. We played a game after that against Rain to try to boost our power ranking, and we beat a real good Rain team, 7-0. So that's where we started playing our best baseball, to be honest with you. And we got a 30 seed. We drew Calvary Baptist, who's won a couple of state championships, already, and we got to go to Shreveport to play. And it was one of the best high school baseball games I've been involved in. I wish a lot more people could have seen it. It was just a bad time of the day. We didn't really have many fans, but it was an incredible game, and we ended up winning it 4-3. And our guys were playing with so much confidence. Then we go to Springfield the next week, and we actually go extra innings. Caleb Robery actually hits a 2-run homer with 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning. We had one guy on to tie the game to get us to the 8th inning, and we scratched across a couple runs in the 8th inning, and we ended up winning that game 6-4. Then we get to host for the first time ever a quarterfinal game here in Port Barre, and I still have nightmares about this game because it's a game we should have won. We lost in 9 innings to Episcopal, 13-9. We had 3 or 4 chances to win the game. Is the ones that'll stick with you for the rest of your life, probably. Anyway, it was a great run, that we had. I just wish we could have won that quarterfinal game because I really think we were playing good enough to win a state championship that year.
Yeah.
But it just didn't happen. But it was a great run, and the kids will always remember that.
Switch back to football for a little bit. With all the season getting pushed back and everything, how's the kids' morale going? Are they still in the weight room giving their all, coming to the small practices that you can able to have, and are they still giving their effort, ready for the season? Or
that's really a good question. I will be honest with you. I was talking with my wife a couple of days ago and telling her how it's hard to keep their morale up because I'm going to be honest with them. It's no use to try to tell them something that's not true. So we've been honest with them. A couple of days ago, I mean, it's an everyday question we get. Coach, are we going to get to play? I'm like, guys, just continue to work hard. I think something's coming up pretty quick, But to answer your question, it has been hard, to keep the morale up, and especially for your seniors, they in the back of their mind, well, I'm doing this for nothing, we may not even play, So it has been kind of hard, but for the most part, our kids have continued to work hard. What we've been doing is we kind of changed up our routine a little bit. We would practice one day, work out the next day. But the working out part, we had to come in groups because we only have 10 guys in the weight room at a time, still up to this point right now. So in my point of view, we had a coaches meeting that all the coaches were in agreement we need to continue to lift. Just going out in helmets and in shorts, it's limited in what you can do out there, and especially when you gotta stay socially distanced. Trying to practice football is not an easy thing, trust me. But anyway, our guys, when we were on the field, when they're in the weight room, they're giving 100%. There's no doubt about that. But it has been something to deal with the mental part of our guys. You never know what the kids are thinking. I mean, and I'll be glad to tell them, when we see them again Tuesday, that we're gonna be prepping, hopefully, to play a scrimmage, jamboree, whatever, which one we play.
I'm gonna stick with football here.
Mhm.
So was it like? I know this is a dream of some here. So what was it like to be able to coach your son Tyler, and now being able to have him on the same staff as you, coaching on alongside of you? What is it like to have Tyler Stevens on
It
the
was.
staff with you and coach them?
I wish I could probably go back and do some things different with that, because I probably rode him harder than I should have. Which, back when he was in school, it was still, he still had some of the old, the old way to coach back then. What I call it, the old school coaching. But it was a lot of fun. I don't regret a minute of it. Going back to the baseball side, he was part of that 2010 team. Um, I- it was fun to coach him, and sometimes, you regret some of the things that you do with your kid. You shouldn't be honest with you. You shouldn't treat him any different than you do, but it's just natural, as a parent, that you expect a little more from your kid. And I don't know, Jordan. It's not an easy thing to do, and I'd be, I don't know if y'all asked him that question when y'all interviewed him or not. I don't know how he would answer that. I would like to hear what he would have to say. It'd probably be a little different than what I'm telling you. But it was nice to have him, and now that he's, on the coaching staff, he's doing a good job. He's here every day. He never misses. He works hard. I'm glad to have him with us.
Let's talk about the seniors that you have coming back this year for football. What are your expectations? What their expectations? What is the feel around the locker room? What they're expecting from the season if we get to have
Right.
the season?
We have a good group of seniors. These guys, this is going to be my first group that's going to graduate from freshmen to seniors, and they've been through a lot. I mean, we went 0-10. When I can tell you, going 0-10 is tough. It tests the character, everything you have in you as a player, and all of these guys that are with us went through that, and a bunch of them actually had to play. I mean, I could go down the list. The two twins, the Dizatil twins, weren't ready to play offensive line yet, but it's what we had. So, but they better for it now. They went through some tough times as freshmen, which all our guys did. Damone Thomas played a lot of football for us as a freshman.
And they came in one of the better districts in the state also.
Yeah, well, we were in the toughest 3A district.
Yeah.
Probably in the state of Louisiana for them 2 of them years that they were here. But real good group. We have 12 seniors. They're all going to be a big part of what we're going to try to do this year. You got Terrell Roberts. Terrell been starting since he's a freshman on both sides of the football, even kicking the football. We made a kick out of Terrell. We have Parker Spar, Blade Olivier. I don't want to miss anybody on the front line. We have Connor Johnson. Connor's going to add some depth to our offensive line this year. We have Damone. Like I said, Damone Thomas. We have James Henry, which is a new kid, a big kid playing defensive line for us. He's probably about 6'2" and weighs about 230, 235, and a good-looking 230, 235. I think he may be the surprise of our team this year. He looks great, out there on the practice field right now, moving well, and I think he has a chance to help us big time. I just wish he'd have played a year or two before, because he would really be a special player, I think. But a good group of seniors. I'm like you said, I'm praying that we get to play. It's looking a lot better than it was a couple of weeks ago. And I think they're gonna have a good year. All of them, each and every one of them's gonna have a good year.
So let's break it down. We just had a hurricane pass, Hurricane Laura, and as we talked before we went live, Lake Charles area football has been canceled this year. So, well, my question for you is about all these teams that have Lake Charles teams scheduled on their schedule, and these kids that are in Lake Charles they're seniors looking to play football. What is your thoughts on these teams that have to fill those those gaps on the schedule and pencil in somebody, those kids that might not get to play another down because the hurricane
Yeah,
came
it's,
through.
I really feel for the people of the Lake Charles area. Know a lot of coaches over there. It's a bad situation. You've had a lot of kids that have evacuated, either to Texas, New Orleans. What I'm hearing a lot in Lafayette. Just talking about what's out there for these kids. They can actually, transfer to another school. There's forms you got to fill out. They become eligible, immediately at the school that they choose to go to. Now, when it comes to the scheduling part, it's going to be tough for some of these schools to find schools to play because, the schedules are made. Everybody's schedules are made. But even if they can't play a game, say in week 8, it's not going to hurt them. They're just going to, if we play 8 games, if their power ranking will be based on 7 or 6, however many games they play. It's not going to hurt them when it comes, to the power rankings, but it's going to hurt you when you want to have a limited number of games already. You're going to maybe have to cancel some. The only thing I can see happening is if you have some teams that have same open dates that are canceled, that they're going to try to hook up. Like I was telling you guys before, we've already had a coach call looking for a game on week 7. We have Lake Arthur that week. From what I understand, Lake Arthur is going to be okay to play, but that's not 100% yet. I guess it all depends when they get back in school, But it's going to be something that's going to, a bridge you have to cross when they get to. No doubt about that.
Could you see some of these teams playing twice in 1 week?
No, not twice in 1 week, but I could see a team maybe playing the same team twice this year, maybe.
Okay.
Just because they can't find nobody else, and you may have 2 teams that have played each other already that are off, or have a cancellation on the same weeks.
All right, so the LHS, they kind of said that there's going to be a tentative start, looking at maybe a scrimmage and a jamboree and then the game starting. How is that going to impact the season, the schedule, if they decide to go with that? Who's going to be the first game and so on and so forth?
Well, if it's, if we start with week 3, we're going to play Opelousas Catholic. If we start week 4, which is the 2 rumors I've heard, is the most rumors I've heard is an 8-game schedule. Some out there say 7. We would play Opelousas Catholic. We'd start in week 3, and carry the schedule on from week 3, to week 10. So, which would mean for us, we're going to be playing 3 games on the road to start the season. Opelousas Catholic, Mamou, and Pine Prairie. So it is what it is. We'll have to play them 3 games no matter if we started the season in week 1. What's bad for us, like I was telling you guys, is we miss our first 2 games are home games. Which you don't want to miss any home games, but there's nothing you can do. So wherever they tell us which week to pick, start playing, that's what we're gonna do.
So talking about the season here, somebody brought up a good point to me the other day, talking about referees, that a couple of the older referees might not referee this season because of the COVID that's going on. So can you see a lot more teams playing Thursday games this year because of the shortage of referees?
Yeah, I'm going to throw something at you. This was as of the middle of last week. Last year there were 1,200 registered referees for the state of Louisiana. We only have 600 that have signed up so far. So that, I was talking to the Oberlin coach a week or so ago, and he was this was before the hurricane even, there's probably even more displaced referees now, since the hurricane. He was saying that he was hearing there may be some games on Wednesdays.
Wow. That
the referee shortage in Lake Charles and the Alexandria area was so bad, and that's who they use. So it's definitely going to be, it's going to be a lot of Thursday games for sure.
Yeah.
There may be some Saturday games. I can't see the Wednesday side. I could see Thursday, Friday, Saturday more than I can see Wednesday, just because there's not enough prep time for you to get ready to play a football game to play on a Wednesday, So that's definitely, it's definitely going to be interesting whenever we do get the schedules out there. We send them back out to our assignment secretaries. How many Thursdays, or say like you, or games are we going to play? It's going to be more than 1, like we usually play. It's going to be 2 or 3 at least, I would say.
So back to the season, they just passed the rule with the 50% capacity rule. Is that going to be for players, coaches, media, parents, cheerleaders, band, or how are they going to put 50% into a stadium?
That's a good question, Jordy. Be honest with you, we don't really know the answer to all of it yet. I know when it comes to us, our football team we have about 50 kids, you know, so we're gonna be okay on that side. We'll be able to dress all our kids. Now the teams that dress 100, unless we get to even if we get to phase 3, they may not be able to dress all of their kids. You know, they may have to pick and choose, you know, which 50 or 60 kids, whatever they allow us to have on the sidelines, you know, who's going to dress out. When it comes to the fan side, right now it's 50% of capacity of your stadium, you know. So really and truly, I don't think that's going to actually, you know, be a problem for us because, I mean, the first thing I got to do is try to figure out exactly the exact number, how many we can sit on the home side and the visitor side. But I think we're going to be okay at 50%, you know, because I'm guessing our stadium seats a couple thousand, you know, so it's very rare we're going to get 1,000, 1,500 people in the stands. Now, are they going to make us sit 6 feet apart and all that stuff? That's something we're going to, you know, that's going to be answered Wednesday with restrictions and all the other stuff. Now, I'm glad you brought up the cheerleaders and all that. I wouldn't think it would be fair for us to be able to play and the cheerleaders not to be there.
Yeah.
They just, you know, they're a bigger part of this as anybody. And we're going to do whatever we can to get our cheerleaders and band and whoever in the stadium with us, you know. That's going to be another thing for the LHSA and our district to decide what's going to happen.
Awaiting some big news this week.
Yeah, exactly. Wednesday will be a big day. We'll find out what's going to happen.
Last question I have for you, Coach. Coming up, you spent a lot of years here with a bunch of great coaches that came and some coaches that done passed and gone. I have a question about Coach Hines. Coach Hines was part of 3 state championships here, football and 2 track.
Right.
So what can you speak on Coach Hines' legacy here at Port Barre High School?
Coach Hines was a great man. First of all, I learned myself personally. I learned a lot of football, a lot about life. You know, he was, when I talked about old school a while ago, he was old school, and you know, he did an awesome job coaching our offensive line. You know, the years I was here when he was coaching, he coached our defensive ends. I mean, I learned, like I said, a great amount of football from Coach Hines. He was a great math teacher. You know, not only as a football coach, he did an awesome job in the classroom too. And on the track side, he may have been a better track coach than he was football coach. And I'm not trying to downgrade his football coaching. He did an awesome job with our track you know, squads, and he deserved, you know, everything that he's gotten. I hate to see, you know, he worked his whole life, you know, and when he retires, his days after he retired weren't very good, you know, to him.
Yeah.
But very good memories about Coach Hines. Enjoyed working with him, you know, the years that I did, and I miss him. I really do. You know, think about him a lot.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck this upcoming season. Rusty, you have any final words?
No, that's it. Thank you for
I
coming.
Appreciate y'all, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
No
this a
problem.
lot more. Hopefully, it's
No problem,
coming up
man.
in the next few weeks.
Whenever I can help out with anything, y'all just let me know. Appreciate it.